So this is a beautiful female horseshoe crab, and I know it's a female because when I look at her first two claws, they look like pinchers. If this was a male, they'd look like boxing gloves. And then when we look at her, she has these front little pinchers that are helping to push food into her mouth. This is her mouth right here. I can put my finger in there, she's not gonna bite me. Instead, what she'll do is she'll eat something like a clam or maybe some dead things, but with a clam, she'll take one of her little claws, wedge it in between that clam and bring it on in and slowly grind it down. So sometimes when we find them, we'll find just like a clam attached, and people might be like, oh no, the clam's attacking her, but it's the other way around. One of the things we do is when we're doing night surveys, we're gonna measure her at her widest portion, and then we're also gonna look for things like parasites. And so when I look at her, I don't see a lot of parasites on her. They're like small little white worms, but I am gonna mark down anything that might be missing. So if you look closely, you can actually see that she's missing one of her back legs. And these back legs don't look like the other legs that she has. They're kind of like pushers, and that's what she's going to be using to dig those burrows to lay her nests in the sand. These are her book gills. This is what she uses for breathing. Now, some people might be saying, she's out of water, aren't you afraid for her for being out of water for this long? She does breathe the oxygen in the water. Not really. As long as her gills are kept damp or moist for over 24 hours, she can be out of water. But that's why it's important that if you see a horseshoe crab flipped over, this is the vulnerable side, flip them back on over so they can go right into the water. The next thing that I'm going to do is, if I was tagging her, taking data on her, is I'm going to take a look at her growth on her back. So we're going to grade her. Once a horseshoe crab comes to the surface, or they come up to breed, they're never going to molt again like other arthropods. So think lobsters. That's not going to happen to horseshoe crabs once they're bigger. So I can kind of guesstimate how many years she might have been an adult based on the growth on her. So I give her about a 3 because of all of that algae, that sea lettuce that you have on her, and also some of those barnacles that you see on her as well. And then once that happens, if I was to tag her, I'd take an awl, I'd make a little hole right here and put that tag in. And then after I tag her, so putting that tag right in there, we're just gonna flip her right on over and put her right back into the water without a problem. Now, one of the things that I just noticed when I flipped her over is if you look, you can actually see where there's some dents on her. So clearly she's had some healing. So that horseshoe crab blood, because they don't molt and kind of regrow those lost parts, that's where their blood really helps to protect their insides. So as that cut happened, probably some of the salt water that has bacteria in it flooded right into her system, and that LAL, or that protein in her blue blood, turned into a jelly Band-Aid and helped to protect her while she healed to keep her inside safe. All of these are really important things for us to understand more about horseshoe crabs and why the horseshoe crabs in Connecticut and Rhode Island don't seem to be quite as healthy of a population as those in other parts of their range, all the way from Florida up to Maine. So if you see a horseshoe crab, the most important thing for you to do, hold her like him or her, like almost like an ice cream bowl, never by the tail, and then you're just gonna flip them over and put them right into the water.